Imagine it, May 2026, the final whistle blows. Arsenal are Premier League champions for the fans, for the club, for Mikel Arteta. That feels like the entire universe, doesn't it? It's the cathartic rule of the Emirates has been holding in for a generation. It's the absolute pinnacle of the entire Arteta project. The final beautiful validation for every painful step of the journey, the definitive end to all those years of bitter frustration of coming so agonizingly, torturously close. But what if I told you that lifting that magnificent silver trophy, as glorious and emotional as it would be, could actually be a beautiful lie? What if that single, gleaming piece of silverware, the one everyone is obsessed with, isn't the real story of the season? It sounds heretical, I know, but in this video we're going to do the unthinkable. We're going to forget the league table for a minute. We're going to look past the ticker tape parades and the shiny medals to uncover the true, vital signs that will tell us if Arsenal's 25-26 season is a genuine foundational success, one that's built to last an era. We're not looking at the scoreboard, we're looking for the hidden clues, from the subtle shifts in their tactical DNA to the strength of the academy conveyor belt that will truly define their future long after the last drop of champagne has gone flat. Here we're going to explore the anatomy of expectation. The 25-26 season for Arsenal can be boiled down to one single crushing weight expectation after the heartbreak of finishing runners-up 3 years in a row. The narrative surrounding the club is no longer nuanced or patient. It's simple, almost brutal binary. Win a major trophy or the entire season is a failure. This isn't the young, fun process squad playing with a house money anymore. This is a team that was meticulously constructed, hardened by scar tissue from most painful of lessons, and backed by a level of financial investment that leaves zero room for excuses or hard luck stories. The summer of 25 was a thunderous statement of intent. The board didn't just plug a few obvious gaps, they added layers of elite game-changing talent designed for one purpose: to win now. In came Victor Gyökeres, a striker with a frankly ridiculous goal record at Sporting, arriving as the definitive answer to the number 9 question that has haunted the club for years. In came Martin Zubimendi, the midfield metronome, a signing years in the making to add a new dimension of technical security and control. They even added an explosive, unpredictable new winger in Madueke to give Bukayo Saka some genuine high calibre competition and provide a different kind of threat. And it didn't stop there. On top of that, they brought in the steely experience of Christian Norgard, the future-proofing defensive talent of Christian Mosquera, and the Champions League winning know-how of Kepa Arrizabalaga. The message from the hierarchy was crystal clear. The time for progress and learning is over. The time to win is now. And honestly, you understand the feeling. It's a sentiment shared in every pub near the Emirates, debated on every podcast and screamed in every fiery online forum. Fans have been through the emotional ringer, watching promising title challenges disintegrate into dust. They've seen their fiercest rivals lift the trophies they so desperately crave. That hunger for silverware has become all-consuming, and anything less than a major honour feels like yet another season of failure. Sorry about this. But this is precisely where we need to adjust our focus. While winning a huge trophy, the Premier League or the Champions League, is undeniably the primary goal, judging the entire health of the club on that outcome is a little too simple, a little too short-sighted. Real sustainable success, the kind that builds an era of dominance, not just one great year, is built on deep foundations that a single trophy doesn't always reflect. It is entirely possible to win the league while significant, dangerous issues are bubbling just under the surface. A team can ride an unsustainable wave of good luck and enjoy a miraculous season free of key injuries, or have 2 or 3 key players play so far above their level it papers over the cracks, only to crash back to earth the very next season because the core structure wasn't truly sound. That's why this season for Arsenal is about so much more than the final result. It's about proving that the entire project, the whole philosophy, is robust and superior. It's about demonstrating to the world that they've built a well-oiled machine that can compete for years to come, not just a team that got hot for one season. To figure that out, we have to look beyond the trophy cabinet. We must examine the tactical litmus test. Has Arteta ball evolved into something more flexible, unpredictable and deadly? We'll check on the player development pipeline. Is the club building a self-sustaining empire, not just a team for today? And finally, we'll look at the unseen foundation. Has the mentality of the squad truly become bulletproof, ready to handle the suffocating pressure at the very top? These are the questions that will tell us if 25-26 is a true success. The tactical litmus test beyond Arteta ball 1.0. Let's be absolutely clear. Mikel Arteta's footballing philosophy has transformed Arsenal from an inconsistent, identityless mess into one of the most meticulously organised and formidable teams in Europe. His cool ideas about positional play, suffocating, counter-pressing and controlled patient build-up give the team a powerful and clear identity. We've all seen them utterly dominate games, suffocate top-tier opponents into submission and score beautiful, intricate team goals. But for all its undeniable brilliance, Arteta Ball 1.0 has shown its limits, especially when the pressure is at its absolute highest. Every fan knows the Achilles heel by heart. The attack can become predictable and sterile. They can struggle mightily to break down deep-lying, organised defences, and they can rely too heavily on the same patterns of play and the same few players to produce a moment of magic. This is where our first true hidden sign of success for the 25-26 season comes into focus. It's not just if Arsenal win, but how they win. A truly successful season will be one where we see a clear and deliberate evolution in the tactics. It's about moving beyond that sometimes rigid system that got them to the dance and developing a style that's more fluid, adaptable and far more dangerous. A trophy won by employing the exact methods that fell short in previous years might feel good in the moment, but it wouldn't suggest they can reach an even higher ceiling. Real lasting success is proving this team can win in multiple different ways. The biggest tactical problem to solve is the low block conundrum. For the last couple of seasons, the tactical blueprint for frustrating Arsenal has been painfully obvious. Sit deep, pack the penalty area of bodies, stay compact and just dare them to find a way through the thicket. Far too many times, Arsenal's only answer was to patiently and often impotently pass the ball in a U-shape around the box, waiting for a moment of individual brilliance from Martin Odegaard or Bukayo Saka to save them. Last season, the team drew a staggering 14 times in the league. A statistic that tells you everything you need to know about their struggles to break down stubborn, well-drilled teams. The summer's transfers were explicitly made to solve this. Bringing in Victor Gyökeres isn't just about getting a prolific goal scorer. It's about adding a completely different kind of physical threat. At 27, he is a battering ram, a genuine physical force who can occupy 2 centre-backs at once, win a certain amount of area duels and give a team a viable target for more direct vertical passes. His presence alone allows Arsenal to go long when they're being pressed into oblivion, or to cross the ball with real purpose, an action which often felt pointless in the past. He completely changes the geometry of the attack, giving Odegaard a powerful runner to aim for with his through balls, and Saka a physical presence to target from the wing. Likewise, signing a dynamic direct winger was an intelligent move to diversify the points of attack, while Saka gives you creative genius and control. An explosive touchline hugging dribbler gives you raw, unpredictable pace and chaos. He's a player who relishes one-on-one situations and can stretch a defence in a way that unbalances even the most organised defensive blocks. A successful season will see Arteta seamlessly blend these new weapons into the system. We'll measure this evolution by watching Arsenal comfortably and systematically dismantle the Burnleys and Wolves of the league, not just hoping to scrape by with a nervy 1-0 win. We need to see fewer sterile, dead-end possessions and more sharp, varied and incisive attacks. The metric isn't just raw goal numbers, it's creating a tactical system that can't be solved simply by parking the bus. The second part of this tactical evolution is demonstrating profound flexibility during a game. For a significant part of Arteta's tenure, it has often felt like a plan A or bust. When the game plan works, Arsenal look like world beaters, an unstoppable force. But when the opponents throw a wrench in the works or they concede the first goal, the response has frequently been to try and execute plan A harder and faster. Instead of adapting the approach, for 24-25 Champions League semi-final against PSG was a perfect telling example. After a difficult first half where they were being overrun, a small but crucial tweak to a 4-2-3-1 pressing shape changed the entire dynamic of the game, and Arsenal got back in control. We need to see that kind of proactive adaptability become the norm, not the exception. A successful 25-26 is a year where Arteta proves he's not just a master planner, but a pragmatic in-game problem solver. Can this team switch to a back three on the fly to protect the precious lead in the dying minutes? Can they deploy powerful double pivot of Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi to wrestle back control of a chaotic, frantic midfield? Can they throw on Gyökeres and go more direct and agricultural in the last 20 minutes when they are desperately chasing a goal? The new signings were specifically chosen to give him these tactical options. With Jurrien Timber back from his long-term injury, and versatile players like Ben White and a new defensive addition, Christian Mosquera, the defensive configurations are fast. The midfield can be set up in multiple ways, with Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard and Marino offering different combinations of defensive muscle, technical control and offensive creativity. Success then will be seen on the touchline. It will be in Arteta's courage and willingness to change his approach when the game demands it, proving he has built a team that can win beautifully, win ugly, and above all, win differently. The player development pipeline, building an empire, not a team. In modern football, winning a major title can be blinding and intoxicating event. It's dangerously easy to get so lost in that your fury of celebration that you fail to notice the very foundations of the club you're beginning to crack. You can assemble a team for one magnificent lightning in a bottle season, a perfect storm where every single player hits their absolute peak at the exact time. But that kind of success is fleeting. It rarely lasts. The true powerhouses, the clubs that define entire eras, build something more profound. They build an empire, not just a team. This brings us to the second and arguably the most important hidden metric for Arsenal in 25-26, the health and vitality of its player development pipeline. A truly successful season is about far more than just the starting 11 that lifts the trophy. It is measured by the clear, constant and tangible growth of the entire squad, creating a virtuous cycle that produces and improves its own talent from within. That is the only way to ensure this season's success is a starting point, not a final destination. The trophy is for 1 year. A great development system means you're competing for the next 10. The first test of this is the seamless integration of the new signings. Arsenal's summer shopping wasn't just about buying talent, it was about buying specific solutions to specific problems. Success here isn't simply about counting the goals and assists from a new arrival. It's about observing how they elevate the performance of everyone else around them. Take Martin Zubimendi, for example. A good season for him isn't just about posting a 95% pass completion rate. It's about seeing if his presence unlocks a new improved Declan Rice. Zubimendi's positional discipline at the base of midfield free up Rice to make more powerful driving runners forward that can break an opponent's line. Does their partnership make the Arsenal midfield impossible to press and structurally impossible to defend against? That is the true test of a great signing. With Victor Gyökeres, the question isn't just did he score 20 goals. The real, more meaningful question is, did his presence make Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, Noni Madueke better, more dangerous players? Did his elite hold-up playing create more space and time for them to operate? Did his constant physical threat in the box give him more one-on-one opportunities on the wings? And with a veteran goalkeeper like Kepa Arrizabalaga pushing for a spot, does David Raya take his game to an even higher level, cutting out those small but costly concentration mistakes under pressure? When you can clearly see the new players making the entire team better, you know the club's recruitment and coaching are working in perfect harmony. The next layer is the continued growth of the established core. Players like Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice and William Saliba aren't promising youngsters anymore. They are the battle-tested world-class heart of this team, but a successful 25-26 season demands that they get even better, that they find another level. The metric here is leadership and decisive impact. We need to see these players be the ones to drag the team through difficult periods and decide the biggest moments. Is Martin Odegaard, who was a bit quiet by his own impossibly high standards last year, adding more goals and decisive assists to his game in the final third? Is William Saliba, already one of the very best defenders in Europe, becoming a more vocal, commanding and dominant leader at the back? Is Declan Rice transitioning from being the team's engine to its undisputed heartbeat, grabbing the biggest games by the scruff of the neck? This internal growth is a massive indicator. It proves that the culture at the training ground isn't about getting comfortable, but about a relentless shared pursuit of improvement. When your best players are still getting better, you're on your way to building a dynasty. The final and deepest measure of the pipeline is the how I end test. The health of a club's academy is the ultimate sign of its long-term vision and soul. Arsenal's very identity is intrinsically tied to its ability to produce world-class talent. A proud lineage from Tony Adams to Cesc Fabregas to Bukayo Saka, a truly successful 25-26 season must show that this pathway from academy to the first team is still alive and well. Last season, seeing Ethan Ronaldo and Miles Skelly play tangible, important roles in the first team was a huge victory for the club's philosophy. The goal for this season is to build on that momentum. We don't need an academy kid to suddenly start 30 games for this to be a success. It can be measured in smaller but equally significant steps. Does Nwaneri get more regular minutes off the bench and prove he can be a reliable and creative part of the first team attack? Does Lewis Skelly, who has already scored for England at the senior level, continue his development, whether that's at left back or in central midfield? And crucially, who's next in line? Will a prodigious talent like 15-year-old Marley Salmon, a defender somewhere already comparing to Saliba, get a chance to debut in the League Cup? Or will the massively hyped Max Dowman be brought into the first team, training to accelerate his growth? Losing a top prospect like Chido Obi Martin to arrival last year was a sharp and painful reminder of how important it is to show a clear and viable path to the top. Seeing these young players get real meaningful opportunities sends a powerful message that resonates through the entire club. Arsenal is where young talent can and will shine. It energises a fan base, strengthens the club's cultural identity, and offers a smart, cost-effective way to build a squad for the future. A title won while the academy path with us is a hollow, short-term victory. A title won while we're also nurturing and bringing through the next generation. That's the unmistakable sign of a real football empire. So we've covered the tactical evolution and the player pipeline, but what about the one crucial element you can't measure with stats or analytics? I'm talking about mentality. But before we get into how Arsenal can finally shed that nearly men tag and become serial winners, if you're enjoying this deep dive analysis, do me a favour and hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel as it helps me out, and make sure you turn on the notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. The unseen foundation: mentality, culture and connection. For all the sophisticated talk about formations, pressing triggers and expected goals, the biggest games are often won and lost in the 6 inches between the ears. And for Arsenal, that mental space has often felt like a treacherous battlefield. 3 consecutive seasons they've been brilliant, tactically innovative, exciting, and in the end second best. This has, whether it's fair or not, created a narrative of a team blessed with all the talent in the world, but perhaps lacking that final, ruthless killer edge when the pressure is boiling over. So how do you measure something as intangible as character, belief or resilience? This brings us to our third hidden metric: the unseen foundation of champion mental fortitude, squad culture and the unbreakable bond with the fans. The first thing to look for is the determined mission to erase that almost tag from their identity. A successful 25-26 season will be defined by how the team reacts to inevitable setbacks. In past years, one bad loss at the wrong time felt like it could trigger a wobble, a crisis of confidence that could derail a promising run. The real test of this team's mentality won't be how they play when they're flying high and 3-0 up at home. It will be how they respond the week after a soul-crushing defeat away to a rival. Do they bounce back with an angry, dominant statement performance, or do those old familiar doubts start to creep back into their play? Success here is visible in the small, gritty moments that make up the marathon of the season. It's grinding out a hard-fought 1-0 win on a cold, rainy Tuesday night in February when nothing is clicking. It's coming from behind to win a game you had no business winning. It's putting together a 10-game winning streak immediately after losing to a direct title rival. These are the moments that exorcise the ghosts of past collapses. The pressure on this group is astronomical, born from the accumulated pain of falling just short so many times. Getting over that final mental hurdle is a bigger challenge than any tactical puzzle Arteta could devise. A trophy won without demonstrating its newfound resilience would feel lucky, perhaps even undeserved. But a season where they consistently show an iron will, an unshakable collective belief in what they're doing is the clearest sign that the culture has finally shifted from one of hope to one of cold, hard expectation. That resilience is a trophy in and of itself. This leads directly to the power of the collective, the culture within the squad. You can often feel the health of a dressing room from the outside looking in. A successful season will provide ample evidence of a tight-knit, unselfish and professional team. This is about more than just choreographed social media posts or post-win celebrations. You can see it in the small details. The entire team, including the subs, celebrate a goal with the same genuine energy. No matter who scored, you hear it in the way players talk about each other in interviews. Is there authentic respect and admiration there? Is there a strong, multifaceted leadership group where players like Declan Rice and William Saliba are just influential as the captain, Martin Odegaard? The summer signings appear to have been made with this chemistry in mind, bringing in a figure like Christian Odegaard, a respected Premier League captain from another club, adds another layer of senior experience and professionalism to the group. His job isn't just to be a capable backup for Zubimendi, but to help maintain the highest possible standards every single day in training. This is about building a culture with no passengers, no egos and no excuses. Last season, Arteta spoke about his desire for a squad where you couldn't easily pick the starting 11, thereby creating intense, healthy, internal competition. Finding that delicate balance, where players are ferociously fighting for a spot, but also generally having each other's backs, is a hallmark of an elite culture. A title can be won by a team of brilliant individuals who don't necessarily get along, but that success is almost always a one-off. A title won by a team with a rock-solid, ego-free culture is a sign of a group built to last. Finally, this inner strength must project outwards and fortify the bond with the fans. A truly successful season will see the Emirates Stadium transformed from a place with a great atmosphere into a genuine psychological fortress, a place where visiting teams are mentally intimidated and beaten before the game even kicks off. This is about more than just loud singing. It's a symbiotic two-way street between the players and supporters. Do the players visibly draw energy from the crowd when they need a lift in a tough moment? And crucially, do the fans stay patient and supportive even when the team is struggling to break down a defence, trusting the process instead of growing anxious? That collective energy can be a real tangible weapon. It can be worth several points over the course of a long season. It's a proverbial 12th man that helps you defend a narrow lead in the frantic final minutes. It's a deafening roar that makes a visiting player nervous as he steps up to take a crucial penalty. Maintaining and growing this powerful bond, especially with such sky-high expectations, is a key indicator of its success. It proves that the entire club, from the manager to the players to every single fan in the stands, is pulling in the exact same direction. When that connection is unbreakable, the club is more than just a team. It becomes a cause. A trophy is the destination, but this profound unity is the engine that gets you there again and again. So in conclusion, redefining success for a new era. So here we are, standing on the precipice of what could be a monumental, legacy-defining season for Arsenal. The public narrative is brutally simple. The demand from the outside is clear. deliver a major trophy after years of meticulous building, methodical progress and the searing pain of being the runner-up. The 25-26 season feels like Judgment Day, and yes, lifting the Premier League or Champions League trophy would be a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. It would be the glorious payoff everyone has been waiting for. But as we explored, looking at this season through a simplistic binary trophy or bust lens is missing the bigger, more important picture. The journey of the last few years has set Arsenal up for something far bigger than just a single victory. This season is a critical crossroads. It's a moment where Arsenal have a chance to prove they haven't just built a team that can win, but a club that can keep winning for a generation. The real lasting victory of 25-26 won't just be a silver cup standing in the cabinet, but getting a resounding yes to the deeper, more meaningful questions we've asked today. Did we see Arteta ball evolve into a more sophisticated and deadly beast? Did we witness a team that could pick apart a park bus just as easily as it could counter-attack a European giant, showcasing a tactical flexibility that makes them impossible to strategically prepare for? That's a sign of a club at the absolute apex of the game. Did we see the player development pipeline firing on all cylinders? Was Victor Gyökeres not just a goal scorer, but a catalyst who made the entire attack more potent? Did the cool leaders like Rice and Saka find yet another gear and ascend into the truly world-class bracket? And crucially, did the next generation power from Howard, Moneris and Lewis Skelly's continue to be integrated, proving the club's soul is as strong as its wallet? That is the undeniable sign of a club built to last. And finally, did we see a team that had forged an unbreakable spirit? A group that faced setbacks, not with fear and doubt, but with fire and fight, decisively burying the ghosts of past failures. A squad with a unified, selfless culture and a connection to its fans that has turned its home ground into an unbreachable fortress. That is the sign of a true champion in every conceivable sense of the word. The ultimate goal for Arsenal in the 25-26 season is for a trophy to be the natural, inevitable result of these foundational strengths, not the only thing that papers over the lingering cracks. A Premier League title won by a tactically flexible, constantly improving and mentally indomitable Arsenal is worth so much more than one scraped over the line by a team that hasn't truly grown. The first signals of the end of the long, arduous chase. The second and much more important one signals the glorious beginning of a new era of dominance. So I'll leave you with this to consider. If Arsenal lift the Premier League in trophy in May 26, but the attack still looks predictable against the low block, the pathway from academy seems blocked for the next generation, and the team still looks mentally fragile when the pressure is at its peak, would you truly call that season an unqualified success? Let me know what you think. Genuine success looks like for Arsenal in the comments below. I'm Gunnar Ritchie, or Statman Rich. You've been watching me on Gunnar Ritchie 1971. Until next time, be safe, and I'll catch you on the flip side.